Hi. Today we're in my classroom and I want to relay a story that happened a couple weeks ago in this very room. I was about to begin a discussion with the students and they were very uninterested in the topic, and I was like, what are you guys not interested in this topic? Because it's, this is the most exciting thing you can talk about in philosophy. It was about metaphysics. And they were uninterested. And so I stopped that conversation and I said, why are you not interested in these, deep, important philosophical things? And this is where it was revealed to me that they lacked a passion in thinking about things like what is real. I think they're interested in what is the good though, right? But what is real seems to be a topic nobody was interested in. Does God exist or not? I mean, come on, how could you not be passionate about that? But this conversation happened, and so I started probing. And some of the things that came out from that discussion were that they don't know how to think about these topics. We don't know how to think about metaphysics. And that's true in general because we haven't been trained, because given our era we live in, we don't think metaphysics is something we can have knowledge about. But I think we can, and so I wanted to inspire them to think, and I asked them what are some roadblocks to thinking, and they couldn't tell me. And I said, what are you spending your time doing? And they said they're spending their time being amused or being entertained. And so we did this thing where we wrote on the board the word amusement. What is amusement? And I asked the students, what does this word mean? And they said something like, being entertained, filling our time with something fun. And so I said, look at this word a little bit more closely. What is this word? Muse. What is it to muse? They didn't know. They didn't know what that word was. So I said, get out your Google machine and look it up. Because we have this thing called Google, right? We could look up anything. You should be curious about words. Words are exciting. So what does muse mean? It's a word that means to think. So muse is to think, which is what I love doing, right? But look at what the students are doing. They're amusing. Amusing is non-thinking. So the thing that is blocking us the most from thinking is amusement. That's what came out of that discussion. So what kinds of amusement are we into? Things like video games. They told me they're playing video games, they're watching videos on YouTube about how to put your makeup on. It seems like amusement is what we do when we're bored, and it's to bide our time. Is all of life amusement? I used to tell some of my high school students when I taught high school that fun is not the good, but the good is fun. What is fun? Fun is just stuff that's temporary, momentary. Amusement is momentary too, right? It's like a temporary turning off the mind because we don't know how to think, we don't like thinking, and when we think, it's hard work. So amusement is what we do instead of thinking. Now, I don't want to just get, just be the one that's like, don't do it. I think we have an alternative to amusement, and I'll give you my proposal. We do need to relax. We need recreation. So let's talk about that instead. Instead of amusement, let's do recreation. What is that? Recreation. We need to be remade. We need to take a break. We need to turn our minds to something different. Sometimes doing something different inspires thinking. Sometimes taking a walk inspires thinking. I turn on YouTube to get inspired, to think about new things. For instance, after I had this conversation with the students, I was wondering, what is amusement? And so I looked that word up and I did a little research because it got me thinking. And that's what inspired me to do these videos too. If you're going to turn YouTube on, then I want there to be something wholesome there. Recreation is one thing that we need, but there's something else we need, and that is play. We need to play. Are you playful? Do you know what it is to play? It's an intelligent thing to do. Play takes intelligence. So instead of turning to entertainment or amusement to turn our minds off, I suggest we turn to recreation and play to turn our minds on in a different way. I mean, even when you're doing amusement, you can't turn your mind off really. So let's be constructive in the use of our downtime. I go on Facebook, I go on Twitter, and I don't do it to mindlessly turn off. I do it to see what are other people thinking, how can I be challenged, and what are some new things that I need to think about. You know, if you go on Twitter, there's a lot of challenging things there, especially if you look at politics. If you go on Facebook, you can choose who to be friends with, you know. I try to choose thoughtful people to be friends with because they inspire me to think about things. I put questions on Facebook. I throw little bombs out there to get people thinking. It's fun. It's fun because it's connected to the good. So you can have fun if you connect it to the good. And I'm talking about the kind of fun that's lasting. Like, is your whole life a life of play? I mean, look, I'm playing right now. It's fun, right? But it's because it's an activity of the mind that is satisfying us because it's the pursuit of meaning, where amusement is something we do when we don't find meaning, we don't have meaning. So again, we need to think, we need to pursue meaning, and let's do it constructively.